point. Well, here we are. All right. So that is an ambiguous title for me, but I'm working on it. I'll find a way to pull something out of this year if it's the last thing I do. This year's been just a jerk. So people keep telling me that they're ready for 2020. I'm like, are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure we don't know what's coming in 2021. And if I had my druthers, I'd go back, not forward. I want a previous year, not a subsequent year. So everybody's like, I'm ready for 2021. I don't want to be in 2020 anymore. Yeah, about that. Are you sure that 2021 is not going to be worse? Mine has been a bit of a ride. I'm ready to not be on the ride anymore, but I don't think I'm ready for whatever ride 2021 is going to be. But in the meantime, it's September now. It's September. And so it's time for me to see if I can find a way to salvage something from 2020. It's such a mess. Anyway, so the story as it goes is this past weekend, I had plans to go visit family, surprise my mother, and bring her some things. That didn't happen because in the midst of the day, early in the day, the transformer on the street blew. Now, when the transformer went, there was a sense that the power went out. But it wasn't a solid out. Many appliances in the house, like the transformer out in the street, blew, just a loud bang. And I was still trying to catch a little sleep because I had woken up too early and not been able to fall back asleep. Did a few things, went to fall asleep again. So I didn't really notice at first, except for my new computer, the one I'm using right now, that's a desktop computer and not a battery-powered laptop, started screeching. Its alarm, I guess there's an alarm feature in it to let you know when power's been cut to it. Well, it let me know. But the thing is, like, it's an alarm. It's contingent on some power. If you fully just unplug it, it shuts up. But it's not, so I don't think it's a power outage alarm. I think it's a fluctuating power, which is really not good for electronics. So the panic in me just was full tilt. And one of the TVs, there's a TV out in the living room I haven't used in years, but it's been plugged in, and that was making sounds like an angry chipmunk, which freaked me the hell out. And so I unplugged that, and it took them a while to repair the transformer. And in the meantime, my laptop bit it again, losing me everything that was on it. Now it's lost in the sense that I can't currently access it. I do think there may be a way to build a new partition on it and dig up some of that data. I'm not sure, because clearly everything I try to do with Ubuntu on that thing is just wrecking it. So I'm going to see if I can get... I tried to reset the operating system. There's a recovery mode, which is like the safety mode in Windows. Mine wouldn't run it. So I tried to reinstall Ubuntu, and in the reinstall, I tried to do it in a way that would save everything that's on it. And it was 48 hours into the process when it stalled out and wouldn't go any further. I left that running for 48 hours, and it did not restore or finish the operating system. I was done. I was just full done. I was ready to pull the hard drive out and whip it against a wall. But I calmed myself down, and I know that if I give it, I closed it. I haven't turned that laptop on in 2 days. I'm just done with it for a while. The possibility is that I might be able to get some of my Linux using friends who can give me a little advice on how to maybe reclaim the data in there. But for now, I'm not using it anymore. I'm just not going to use that laptop. It's not dependable enough to use, even if I could get it back up and running. Everything goes wrong with that, and I don't know why it keeps blowing up on me, but I'm done with it for a while. That's no longer a primary computer. It's a paperweight is what it is right now. If I can extract the data from it, it'll still be a paperweight. It'll be a browsing computer. It's something I can browse the internet with, but I'm not going to use it to record anything on important. That's where this computer's coming in. And I'm hoping to get a backup drive for it. I'm hoping to save up a little bit of money and buy a external hard drive that I can plug right into this baby, back up everything on it. So if this one decides to bite it, so be it. I'm not gonna be caught like this again. I am completely done with the fact that 2020 has wiped everything I've done 4 times at this point. I'm done with it. I'm not playing that game anymore. I'm just not going to put my effort into it. Oh, speaking of playing games, I also canceled BuildBox. I'm not renewing for this year. I'm not going to spend like $100 to $200 on a suite of software that at this point I can't even use. And so I'm not spending the money on it. I may spend a little bit of what I saved by not doing that on some stuff from RPG Maker. We'll see where I go with that. No guarantees on that right now. But I am thinking in the meantime of I'm going to have to do my standard trick of backtracking through the videos that I've done to find out the names of the sites that I had bookmarked on my laptop for doing podcasting stuff, because it's not on here. It's only on the videos that I've recorded to YouTube. It's such a pain in the ass. If I do ever get that up and running, I'll pull my data off of that laptop. I will bring it on over to my computer here And I'm going to see if I can reformat that to a Windows PC. Because I have used Windows for decades. And not once, except for with the laptop's first go, which was a damaged hardware issue. Not once have I had Windows wipe everything I've done. Ubuntu has done it to me 3 times now. I'm not doing it anymore. And I like the rebuild process for playing with Ubuntu. It's not worth it. The amount of time I have to research and look up what 5 words to type into the control panel prompt, it's just stupid. As an operating system, it is not operating and it is not systematic. It's a mess. I'm not using it anymore. It's just, I mean, I have a, my mom gave me a surge protector with a built-in battery to it. And I tried to use that earlier today and it started screaming something that has an alarm in it and it just starts going off. And I'm like, I don't have the energy to try to fix this right now. It's nowhere on my list of must do right now situations. So I'm not dealing with it. It's plugged into the other room. I guess I'm charging the battery. I guess that's what it wants. I couldn't tell you for the life of me what it needs. It's possible that the outlet that I've tried to plug it into was unsuited for giving enough power for it. Although, oddly enough, it is currently running 2 monitors and 2 computers. So how it wouldn't work as a support for a surge protector with a backup battery in it, I feel like this year is really just trying to get me. To be fair, I will say, as much as I feel like this world is trying to kill me, it did give me a very bad virus that I didn't die from. So I think I'm probably lucky on that score. But it's the kind of lucky that happens after you've been unlucky. I don't know if that makes any sense. Mainly just, it's like falling out of a moving car into lanes of traffic and being missed by all the cars in the traffic. It'd really be better if you didn't fall out of the car in the first place. But I guess we can take it as lucky that I didn't get hit by anything. And I have these anxiety attacks of losing some of the stuff that I have on some of what I've got left. So I'm super anxious about trying to avoid that happening. I'm not sure I'd want to do a cloud storage, because that's usually like a rental. You rent the service for a period of time for the amount of stuff I'd be using it for, and I'm not paying the rental fees. I don't think I can afford to do that for the amount of stuff I do. It shouldn't be a problem that things keep failing, but it just keeps happening. So I'm going to turn that off. I don't need that on right now. Yeah. Oh, and they've been giving me double shifts at work, so there's that. It means I don't have any time to do anything. But you know what? All right, let's take the opportunity where we're doing stuff right now. I want to pull up. We had SoundCloud. and Anchor Podcasting. Anchor. And what was the other one I was curious about? Like there was Podbean, and I could look into Podbean. I think that was what it was. Okay, and that was the one with the pricing that was 0. Yeah, basic. So that was one of them. What was the other one? I want to say Synergy or something like that. Podcasting hosts. No host sites. Okay, free. Let's put in free because that was the thing that led me to it. Free. Come on, just give me the data, please. Add. Okay, so what do we got? So we had the misleading attempts were for that Buzzsprout. It's free for 90 days. Then it's not. We had Podbean, Spreaker. That's the other one. Spreaker. So let's pull up Spreaker. Okay, so now I've pulled up the sites. That's good. I've got those pulled up again so that next time I want to do... Oh, Podomatic was one. You are right. Podomatic. That was one of the first ones we came across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options. So we have 5 options for podcasting. I do think, if I remember correctly, SoundCloud was the only one I could see that offered scan by number. So basically, hit 5, go to 50% through the video or the audio. YouTube does it too. The others I was going to have to look at the left-right audio podcasting technique with. I've got the mic. I could probably start doing something this week if I could finish up the scripting. I'm going to start using paper because paper doesn't crash. Well, technically it doesn't crash. There's always the, well, your house burned down while you were at work kind of problem that could happen. We're hoping that doesn't happen. Oh, God. This year really is kicking everybody in the teeth. I'm ready to be done. I don't need more kicking in the teeth. It's already gonna cost me a lot of money to get the ones I need replaced. I don't need to be paying for extras. So, I wonder. I know I know Facebook is technically a video and news feed. I'm just gonna, it's a silly temptation, but I'm gonna head over and I'm gonna see if I can find somebody's video feed. And see if I can click on the video. And understand it enough to test if it does the scroll by numbers. Oh, come on. Somebody has to have posted a video within the last week. No, nobody's posted a video in the last 2 days at least. Oh, is that a video? Hopefully it's not going to play on the program. It's Vimeo. That's not what I... Dork. That's not useful. I didn't want to jump... Oh, God. Is there a Facebook video or not? You have got to be kidding me with this crap. Yeah, I am a little more grumpy than I usually am just because I'm tired of dealing with it. I'm tired of this tech breaking on me all the dang time. That's going to take me to Amazon. I don't want to follow somewhere from Facebook. I want a play in video Facebook. Come on, give me a Facebook video. I shouldn't be that cranky. I should stop. I should ease off, relax. It's okay. Really, nothing. Okay. Cool. All right. So what do we got? I'm sure I clicked through or saved something at some point. Yeah? No, probably not. No, that's a YouTube video. That's not what we're looking for. Nope, I did not do a good job of this. Okay, so what do we got saved? What do we got? What do we got? Okay, so nope. Okay, that took an inordinately long period of time to get that data. Just trying to find out whether or not Facebook video uses number buttons, and it does not. So YouTube and SoundCloud. Actually, let's go over to a Vimeo, see if we can find a Vimeo video. I hadn't thought about that. Problem I have with like YouTube and Vimeo is they sort of need a visual element. Is Vimeo no longer free? It's not. I'm not paying you $8 a month to upload videos. Okay, what's Vimeo Basic? Maybe that's the free one. Okay, so what do we... Back off, dude. I am not signing up for it right now until I get more data. Okay, so do we have a video that I can click? What? See, this is why nobody's competing with YouTube, because you're all doing this garbage. Okay, so Vimeo video, I've got one up and running. And it looks like a hallucinatory nightmare. No, number keys don't work on Vimeo either. Okay, it's probably for the best anyway, because it doesn't look that's a user-friendly site anyway. So that really leaves us with SoundCloud and YouTube that use the number keys as far as we've been able to see. So going forward, I think those are going to be the platforms where I use the number key approach. I'm trying to remember, with the number key approach, we were doing, what was the setup? Oh, the three choices. And I was going to call it something about fables, right? The Fabulists game. Should write that down because I'm going to need it at some point, and I don't have it anywhere physical because I was relying on a computer, and that was stupid. So let's write that down. Come on. Are you telling me my pen doesn't work? You guys are messing with me. Fabulists game. What was the other one? I know I had the trivia one that I was going to do that I still haven't figured out the name for. And then Tales? I feel like I must have written it down, but I think I wrote it down on a text file on a laptop. Tales. Choice Tales. There you go. I knew it'd come to me if I just pound my brain into my skull enough. Choice Tales. So those Choice Tales was going to be more of a format of that one's a choose your own adventure traditional style. Or no, Choice Tales was the one that was left, right, one choice is always wrong. Yeah, okay, so and trivia was left, right. And because it's non-sequential, it doesn't matter from question to question because it's, you get one right or wrong, go to the next question. It's a whole new question. So there's no real carryover for a lot of that. The Fabulists game was the one that used the number keys. And so that one has to pretty much be on SoundCloud. And the other major limitation on that one is there are only going to be 2 points of divergence. Maybe 3. Depending on how I structure it, there's going to be, for the most part, only the option for a character to make choice 1. So one choice gets you 1, 2, 3 options. And if each of those 2 on the end of that get 2 more options, that'll get you 7 as your total. If from 7 you have 1 death ending, which makes it 8, and 1 victory ending, that'll make all 9 options that you've used for each of the keys. So you really only get beginning narrative, choice, and then a last choice. And I feel like that's a viable approach if you use a 3-act play or a 5-act play structure. You can make the pivot points be the start of each one of those chapters. So I think that's viable, and it lends itself to a shorter form story with fewer choices. And thus, I think the fable structure, which is where the term fabulist comes from, is the teller of fables. I think using a fable structure for stories is viable. So that works. Choice Tales is a little bit more of the corn maze that you talked about a while back when we were talking about this idea the first time. The idea that there's a path you can go down that'll proceed further, and then there's a path that you go down that goes to a dead end. So there's always a wrong path. Might be 2 paths. It doesn't really give you much option to do a 3rd path option. But the reason that works that way is with left and right audio channel would be essentially you're listening to this channel, and then you're listening to this channel, and each choice you make tells you which one of these to listen to. If you switch from one to the other, one of those 2 channels has to dead end, because the next point where you make a choice relies on these 2 channels again. Now, eventually I would like to create the controller or the device that lets you play these types of games with more than 2 choices. But as it stands right now, if you were to try to explore those types of audio games without the hardware or the app on your phone that lets you do that, you're just going to get a bunch of noise. You're going to get a bunch of different audio tracks layered over top of each other that makes a lot of noise. And you won't have the device that filters for the direct certain files. For that choice, it would be it'd be sort of like there are 2 buttons. One of them has a stick of dynamite. You push a button, either that it kills you and you go back, you're done, restart the audio, or you pick the one that doesn't detonate it, but instead opens the door to get out of the room. Now you're in another room. I give you another 2 buttons. One of them's going to kill you. The other one lets you proceed to the 3rd room. So there is definitely you failed, go back to the beginning. But there's also, you've succeeded, you progress further down the storyline. And so it's viable. It's not the best way to play a choose your own adventure story, but I mean it's not, when you really think about games like Mario or Mario Brothers or things like that, you have games where you either got to the end or you didn't. That's how that game works. Like it could matter not one lick anything that happened between the front and the back end of the game, just as long as you got from one to the other. And yes, you have a little bit more freeform exploratory capability with those types of games, but we're working with what we got here. Now, ultimately, being able to do a 6 or even probably more like just a 6 choice choose your own adventure game would be ideal, because at that point you have a lot more capability to make choices matter and branch in ways that are useful to you. Yeah, so I don't know that it makes sense, because I'm looking at it. I've got the 3 types of game that I want to play at right now: trivia, fables, and right or wrong choice stories. And the thing about the right or wrong choice story games are that they can be as long as you need them to be, because you're able to have 2 choices at every point in the story. It's sort of like just doing the trivia game, only linking the success for a given story element to the choices made. So, like, you make a choice, it goes to the next one. The right choice always leads you to the next part of the narrative, whereas the trivia game doesn't have a sequential narrative. So you're able to do trivia games that are pretty infinitely long too, if you wanted to do an infinitely long one. I'm just thinking, like, no, I was thinking for a second, like, the articles that I looked up for podcast hosting sites, they are usually structured as a top 10 or top 20. I'm like, could I do something like that? But there's no real choice. Like, as a reader, you're there to get a list of options to explore for a purpose later on. There's not really a lot of narrative or gameplay elements involved in that. So I'm sure maybe I can figure out something to do with that. I bet you if it were something quirky, something really weird, like would you rather? That's playable. Would you rather? And then based off of their choice, give them that. That's a little hard to do. Would you rather? And make it an audio event? Would you rather hear fingernails on a chalkboard, or squealing tires or something like that, and give them what they ask for? Oh, one of the others, one of the other games that you can kind of play on Reddit was 50-50. And that was a game you could do where it was, this is a link. If you click it, there's a 50-50 chance that you'll either get to see a giant zit on the back of a cow being popped and oozing out pus, or a child giggling or something like that. So you have these two choices. One is really bad and one of them's really innocent. And you don't know which is going to be till you click the button, click the link. So you could do something similar for an audio listener. So a 50-50 or would you rather? Or truth or dare with audio elements. That would be kind of fun if you could get guests to come on and do a podcast where it was like truth or dare. Tell us. Well, that's the thing is like the choose your option gameplay isn't something that you could easily. I wonder if we could easily do a live stream. Oh, now there's an idea. Okay, so what I'm thinking of is the reason there are limitations on what you're able to do is left and right channels. You need to do both options. So if you're doing an audio podcast where you have option A is reciting a piece of poetry, and option B is making armpit fart noises. You have to do both, and you have to put both streams of audio right on top of each other. But the audience picks which one they're looking for, and they'll listen to that. So it's got to be something that the audience will favor one way or the other. But you could do it, because I know we can do a microphone recording that only plays on one audio channel, left or right. Ooh, we might even be able to do live stream more than two channels. If we did the high-end, low-end filtration option on left and right channels, we could conceivably get 4 options, maybe even 6 options in a live video feed. If we set up a mic to be mono channel, so if we essentially set up a stereo recorder, so a stereo microphone that gets variants on left or right audio channels, and then set it up so that the feed in for left and right channels are from separate microphones, and those two are filtered in. So you'd have to stack mixers, I think is what you'd have to do. Mixer 1 would be high end and low end into a mono line into a stereo system. And then you do a mixer over here with a high end and low end filtration feeding into a right audio channel. And that way you'd get maybe 4. You could potentially do a high-end, mid-range, low-end filtration on 3 different mics on each mixer, and each mixer feeding into the left and right audio channels. You could potentially do that. You'd have to have 6 voice actors or 6 speakers representing each choice. And you'd have to script it out or at least script out a skeleton enough that each person knows they have like a 2-minute they have a 2-minute improv window to improv based off of the prompts put on the list in front of them. Oh man, the organizational effort on a project like that would be a nightmare. Well, because the voices all have to happen at the same time, I can't read 5 different scripts at the same time. And if we're live streaming it, they all have to be in perfect sync. So like if we're just looking at the 2-channel option, I'm using this one, in which is going to say "'Twas the night before Christmas" and all through the house, and this one, which says "Jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg." I set up a central narrative that says it's Christmas time, and your child is performing for you a presentation of their favorite piece. Is it left or right? You pick, but they have to both be "'Twas the night before Christmas" and "Jingle bells" at the same time. I have to have them both going at the same time, so I need 2 different readers. Because if we're live streaming it, they have to go up at the same time. So audio window between 2 minutes and 5 minutes. So 2:00 and 5:00. In between there, you need both of them playing at the same time. So you need 2 speakers. Now, if it's something I'm recording beforehand, then yeah, I can do all 6 myself. But the prompt of saying doing something streaming online, a live stream, is what I thought you were saying. Then a live streamed choose your own adventure, you need a good cast of speakers to represent the 4 to 6 channels that you're going to use. But I think it's doable. And that would be a feat of truly interesting. Oh, that would be a performance feat. I think it would be noteworthy enough that it would probably appear on somebody's radar on the internet. That would be so interesting to try to do. What story would you structure for a live streamed? Because you're going to have more than one voice as the narrator. You're just going to shift from narrator to narrator. Unless you could find 4 to 6 people who could reproduce the same voice for each of them. And I mean, a voice changer can only do so much. There's voice rhythm, cadence, pronunciation, accent. I mean, you might be able to get some of those details, but that'd be a tricky one right there to see if you could all reproduce the same voice. That would be a challenge. And it sounds like a fun challenge, honestly. A live streamed choose your own adventure using audio tricks to skip the choices you want. Oh, that would be so. Like, I do think it's possible to do the first round of a live stream choose your own adventure with 2 channels and 2 speakers, narrators. Oh, I could see that working. Now you could do the trivia ones like that too. You could do the puzzler, and they pose the puzzle. You decide left or right which way to solve it. and then they hand it off to, Vanna, tell them why they're wrong. Or Vanna, tell them why they're right. And you could have, again, you would need two people who could reasonably reproduce the same voice. You could do that. I think that's doable. So we could do trivia. We could do the Choice Tales live. I don't think we could do the Fables, because I don't think you can skip around in a live stream with a number keys. I'm tempted to say, give it a try. We're about at 50 minutes in. If you hit the number 2, would it jump you back down to 20% of the way into it? I don't think so. I don't think that works that way. But if you're watching this back afterwards, I bet you it would work. Not sure about that, though. And then, so trivia and the Choice Tales, where choose or die. Could we do? I don't think we could get away with a full choose your own adventure style story unless we did the multi-channel. If we did 6 channel choices, then we could do a full choose your own adventure, but you would require an external device that selectively filtered channels, audio channels. And that's a ways down the line. That's either using your smartphone with an app in it, or I could make a hand controller that you could hold up and push a button, and each button selects a different audio channel to play. That's a viable option and for a future experiment. But I think for right now, the primary 3, I will make a note of live streamed choose your own adventure stuff, because I do think that's a fun kind of idea. Because the challenge of it is, like, most people, like, my first instinct is to say, I don't think it's possible. But then I came up with a way of making it possible. And I think if you could do that live, that would totally catch some people off guard. That would be totally worth it. So we could do a trivia show, a true or false, right or wrong choice. Or we could do the Choice Tales structure of there's always a right or wrong. Wrong choices knock you back out. That could be interesting to do. The 4 choices, that's substantially harder to achieve. But doing a multiple choice live, you'd have to, I think I'd really have to script it right, because the choose or die methodology of a 2-channel option feels limited, even if you're just aware of it. I mean, like, knowing that choice A or choice B, one of them's going to kill you, I think it really limits you to what kind of structure. Like, you have to do an escape, a horror escape style game with that format. I'm sure you could do something else, a dungeon crawl or something like that. And you got to write it correctly. Like, there are some of those games out there that some people play where you make a choice at a certain point to try to take a certain path, and it ends up killing you. And so you have to go back and try again. And then you get to the next choice, and it either kills you or you make it through. If it kills you, you go back and try to beat it again. And you just go back and do it again, and back and do it again until you get it right. There are some of those types of games. It's sort of, to a certain degree, it's like playing a game of memory. That game with kids that you can play, that it's basically a bunch of cards laid out in a grid, and they're matching each other. So there are 2 pumpkins, and there are 2 witches, and there are 2 ghosts, but they're at different places. And so you set them up, and you flip one over, and then you flip another one over. And if they match, you remove them, you claim them, you win points. If they don't match, you flip them back over face down, but now you know where each of the 2 cards are, one of each of the 2 cards are. So the next time you pick a third card, you flip it over, and it'll tell you maybe it's the witch, and you knew where one of the witches was before. Now you can pick 2. You can do a game like that with a 2-choicer. There's always a fail option and a success option. If the success option, I mean, it's hard to do that specific game because the way that game works is it gives you a grid of 6 by 6 or something like that, choices, and you get to choose whichever choice you want. You wouldn't really have that option. You flip over a new card, it's this. Did you uncover the same card in the last hand? Yes or no? Then it's like you might be able to do something. It won't be quite as satisfying, but you could build a game in which your gameplay is memorizing the correct choices for the path you're going down. And that almost behooves you to make longer stories at that point. Because if you make a choice every 30 seconds to a minute and you're going down this thing, if it's a 20-minute long story, making 20 choices and remembering from run to run which choice is the right one and which one's the wrong one, that's part of the fun of it, I would think. If you do it right, you'd be going down like, okay, so I remember last time I made this choice and it killed me, so if I do it this way this time, and then this, then this, then this, then this, it becomes like, do you remember the game Simon when we were kids? It's electronics. Well, I don't know if it was an electronic version when you were a kid, but it's essentially a red, yellow, green, and blue sections, quarters of a circle. You set it up, and the lights go around the circle, and then it blinks, say, red, and so you tap red, and then it blinks red, blue. And so it's like red, blue, and then red, blue, red, yellow, and you just keep building this chain that you have to remember from hand to hand or version to version. That's sort of hitting the same skill set that a choose or die narrative structure would be if you built it long enough. You build a chain where they have to remember what choice they made at every turn in the story. kind of a fun thought. Anyway, that's an hour. I should probably call it there for tonight. I will catch you on, what day is it even today? Today is Tuesday. So, well, I guess technically now it's Wednesday here. I will be back on Thursday night, hopefully, barring some catastrophic destruction of all my electronics, which I'm not going to put past this year. I tell you, man, this year's brutal. Okay. Take care. Thanks for joining me, and have yourself a good night. A live stream